So this is class 128 on the Golden Dawn. So we're dealing with a very difficult topic, and I'm going to explain it step by step. So we're going to go today on page 72. I'm going to read again the statement of Saadia Gaon in Sefer Yesirah. I'm going to read the continuation, my father's continuation, explaining it, and then we're going to look at the footnote. Okay? So, Saadia Gaon, commenting upon a key passage in Sefer Yesirah, remarked, "The ma'ana cannot be apprehended without three elements: phonetic sound, word, and association." That's very interesting, the way Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon breaks down language. There's a certain parallelism between the way Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon breaks down language and the way the linguists, such as Ferdinand de Saussure, such as Jacques Derrida, such as others, and it's as follows. Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon recognizes that there are phonemes. He recognizes that you put the phonemes, like the word, like this, like let's take a word, dad or daddy. So the phoneme is da, right, or d, right, and then you put them together to get a word. So daddy, right. The phonemes themselves are devoid of meaning, but when you combine them together, you have a word. Now the word has a lexical meaning, right? So you see how phonemes combine to form words where the meaning of a word is above the individual phonemes which make up the word, right? Meaning there is no relation between the word, the sound da, and the sound d. So together it's daddy. The meaning of daddy is beyond the meaning of those individual phonemes, right? So let's say they take the word to-ra. To-ra. To is a sound, ra is a sound, phoneme. They're devoid of meaning. But together, they mean a word, Torah, which has a meaning, has a lexical meaning. In the same, so that's sharach. So now you see what sharach is? Sharach is a lexical meaning of a word. The word is composed of phonemes, and the lexical meaning of the word is whatever we recognize it to be. Similarly, if you take words and you combine them, there's going to be a ma'ana, a meaning to those combined words, which is beyond the individual lexical meanings of those words, right? A very sophisticated approach of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon. And by the way, I must say, brilliant of my father, alav shalom, for having analyzed the text of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon in such an incredible manner, because people read this text before, they just never understood what he was talking about. My father really connects this so perfectly with modern ideas. That's what's so beautiful about the book Golden Doves, that he takes rabbinic passages, he takes midrashim, he takes Talmudic passages, he takes passages of Rabbeinu Saadia Gaon, and he shows, people read these passages for centuries, but nobody understood what they're about. And my father, he has a zechut that he really brought the wisdom of the Hachamim in a way that nobody did. So let's just finish this quote. The phonetic sound, right? Like I said, to is a phonetic sound, is what is not meaningful in isolation, right? Has no meaning. As when one utters ah, so you have the word, the sound ah, that's a phonetic sound. And other phonetic sounds, right? Has no meaning. Ah, ba, ga, right? Those are just. A word occurs when one says Adam. So now you took two phonetic sounds. You took the sound ah, you took the sound dam, and you combine them, and they have the word Adam. The meaning of Adam is beyond the meaning of the individual phonemes. Okay. Here too, no mana can be discerned. At this point, there is no mana. There is lexical meaning, dictionary meaning to the words, but there's no concept here, right? However, in association with other words, mana is accomplished. For example, when one says, a man found me, Misa'ani Adam, he found me. So now I have a concept, right? There's a concept expressed in the sentence. Or I saw a man, Ra'iti Adam, right? Or the iti. So here you combine the words to form ma'ana. Phonetic sound is what cannot be understood. So the phonemes, those individual phonemes, they have no meaning. Utterances are isolated words. But then you have the isolated words. But isolated words by themselves, they don't really convey a message. If I just say the word Adam, okay, what am I saying? Adam. Well, okay, what about the Adam? I'm saying something like predicating the Adam. Is he an object? Is he a subject? Is what? But then, and sentence is this association of two or three or more words, as we have illustrated. So that's a really a brilliant approach of Rabbeinu Saadia to the structure of language. So the idea's first point ascertains the glossomatic principle. The phonic expression is not intrinsic to the linguistic sign. Right, the phonic expression has no meaning on its own. The glossomatic principle is an extension of Ferdinand de Saussure. And Jacques Derrida discusses it. He quotes somebody, and I'm not even, I think I have the book of grammatology, and he quotes somebody, I can't even pronounce the name. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the name, but I think it was here, if you just give me a moment. 1 second. So the glossomatic principle is a Talmid of Ferdinand de Saussure. The first two letters of the name of the Talmid is HJ. So you see that I don't have a clue how to pronounce that name. Right? But so the glossomatic principle looks at the smallest units of language that do have meaning, right? So for example, let's take the word unhappiness. So here you have a morpheme, which is a part of the word, and the word, the sound un has a meaning, right? Negation, right? Uncold, so I'm negating cold, right? Right? And ness, N-E-S-S. So that indicates a particular state or a particular quality. So if I say happiness, it's a state of being happy, right? Sadness is a state of being sad. So unsadness is the negation of that state, right? So the glossomatic principle looks at the arbitrary relationship between these units that have meaning. For example, we said means reversible or negation. There is nothing intrinsic in the sound that will lead to the meaning reversal or negation, right? So it's arbitrary, where there's nothing in the meaning of the sound ness that would indicate a particular state, right? Happiness, the state of being happy. So it's arbitrary. But the glossomatic principle doesn't just look at the arbitrariness of the signifier, right? Those sounds, and the relation between those sounds and what those sounds mean. But the structuralist and the post-structuralist, they also look at the arbitrariness of the signified, of what is being signified. So, for example, color, the word color, I forgot what the Welsh word for color is, but the Welsh word for color, that's a translation of the word color. Not exactly, because the Welsh word for color, whatever that word it means gray, green, right? Blue, gray, green. Not exactly the word color. For us, the word color is a richer, broad, a richer spectrum of colors, right? There, no, it's a more limited spectrum. So you see how also the way we structure the world is itself arbitrary. We choose to structure the external relationships around us, right? That itself is a choice. That itself is arbitrary, right? So I just wanted to give you some inkling into structuralist thinking, into the glossomatic principle, because now my father says, see, that's the first point, ascertains the glossomatic principle. The phonic expression, again, has no meaning. It's not like the which has a meaning. Means reversal. We're talking about those phonetics that have no meaning. So the phonic expression is not intrinsic to the linguistic sign. So whether it's which has no meaning, whether it's which has a meaning, but you see the arbitrariness in choosing to mean reversal or as part of the word adam. There's something intrinsic to the sound that would lead us to the idea of Adam, right? This is essential for a proper understanding of the conventional arbitrary character of the linguistic sign. Right, so you need to understand this. So those phonetic units themselves are arbitrary. And therefore you understand that the sign itself, as signifying something outside of itself, is arbitrary. Maimonides did not formulate this principle. From his reference to non-phonetic speech, however, it is clear that for him too, the phonic expression is marginal to the linguistic side. So this is going to be incredible. We're going to be reading something really incredible in the Moreh Nebuchim, in my father's footnote here as well. We're going to do that tomorrow or in the next class. I just want you to think about what we studied until now, because it's really just let it let it stay in your mind. Just think about it. I know what we did today wasn't incredible, but it's necessary for the next step, because in the next step we're going to be discussing if indeed the ma'ana, the words used to convey a concept, are arbitrary. So is there ma'ana without speech? And the answer is, well, yes. Because the ma'ana, whatever that concept is, doesn't depend on those words, right? Those words are arbitrary for the ma'ana. They're just used to point out to the ma'ana. So there's a concept here. In what world do you have concepts unarticulated by speech and yet fully conveyed? Where does that happen? It's an incredible concept. Breathtaking. But it's not going to be articulated by speech. And now you understand it doesn't need to be articulated by speech, because the speech itself is arbitrary and therefore not required for the concept. So where do you have that? Next class.